Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Marcos Villegas, and welcome to the June 21st edition of this Fight Up TV live chat. Crazy busy week in combat sports. I've been traveling nonstop for 3 weeks in a row, so it's so glad to be back to our regularly scheduled time over here on Fight Up. Thank you so much. Everybody, give me a big liked round of applause also for the next guest that we're going to have. I'm going to go ahead and let my man Marcus Hayes go on and introduce this man right here as we have Marcus up in here. Marcus, man, you were able to pull some strings. We have a very, very special guest with us, which I'm very happy about. Go ahead and introduce our next guest, man. He's someone that a lot of boxing fans will know, a lot of new boxing fans should know, because at one point this man was the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world.
Absolutely. No question, man. This is a fighter who fought from 1984 to 2002. He's a two-weight world champion, having held the IBF middleweight championship and the WBA super middleweight championship from Davenport, Iowa, man. The one and only. Now listen, it's important for you guys to know, Michael Nunn is our guest. Michael second to none from Davenport, Iowa, man. This is our special guest.
And there is the man himself. Yeah. Michael, welcome to the Fight Up TV live chat, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine, my man, Marcus.
What's up, Mike? How you doing, brother?
Hey, slow motion, man. Enjoying this West Coast, baby.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, welcome Michael. Back, hey, I got to ask you, you know, being such a legend and getting the enjoy the fruits of your labor. How has life been for you on the other side, being retired for all these years?
Well, you know, boxing been good. I can't complain. You know, I'm still here, so thank God for that. Got a beautiful family, and you know, everything's great. I can't complain.
Are you still staying up to date with the sport, or are you still watching all the fights and the fighters?
Possible. You know, they got a couple young fighters I've been watching lately. Earl Spence and Crawford and what's his name, Tank Davis, and I seen this kid the other night, the monster. So it's a few guys I've been watching, you know, keep me in tune with the game, with the great sport of boxing.
Man, you listed like those three guys that you listed are all on the pound-for-pound list. A lot of people have Inoue #2, Terrence Crawford #1, Errol Spence top 5. What do you make of, because he fought over the weekend, what do you make of Inoue?
Well, I mean, he's going to make guys take notice. I mean, he's definitely a young guy on the upswing. I mean, he's putting his work in. He's winning in royal fashion, and he's doing everything a champion's supposed to do. So he'll be recognized as one of the best as well, because with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence.
Was there anything in particular that stuck out to you about him as a fighter?
I mean, he got good range. I mean, he pushes shots together. I mean, and when he throw that hook to the body, it's very devastating. I mean, he throws it with great impact, and I mean, when he lands that shot, he gets guys out of there. I noticed he knocks a lot of guys out with that punch. You know,
yeah, like
prepare that liver.
My thing with him is, for a guy that small, I'm surprised by how much power he's able to generate in his punches.
Well, he's turning his punches over real well. I mean, he's a good puncher, great puncher. You know, for a 118-pound man, he hits like a middleweight.
Yeah, he does, which is crazy, because you know he's a small guy, and like you mentioned, he has power that's like 2-3 weight classes above him.
No doubt.
Yeah, you know he's one of boxing's most exciting fighters. He had a big knockout win over the weekend. Did Inoue? They're talking about maybe having him fight the winner of Nonito Donaire versus Jean-Riel Casimero, which they just announced, which is a tremendous fight given that the styles of both those fighters. Are you familiar at all with any of those two guys, Michael?
Well, I know the guy, Nonito Donaire. I've seen him perform. I've seen him perform a few times. He's a great fighter, and I know him and the Japanese kid fought once before. It was a real, you know, close fight. So if he can overcome his next victory, maybe him and the monster can get it on again. I'm sure he probably wants to fight him again, because they said it was a real close fight. So I'm sure he wants to redeem himself.
Speaking of Errol Spence, he's fighting Manny Pacquiao coming up in in August, I believe, in Las Vegas. What's your take on that fight, Michael? I'm curious to see how you see that fight.
You got two good fighters. You got one young fighter, one older fighter now. The older fighter is going to get the opportunity to show if he can still perform with the young lions. And I think it's going to be a real good fight. It's going to be a creative fight. You got Earl Spence, which is one of the best welterweights in the world. Him and Terrence Crawford, they're 1 and 2. So it's going to be an exciting fight, and we'll be able to see it here soon, here in the short future. I'm really looking forward to the event.
Mm-hmm. How do you see the fight playing out? Like break it down for us. Like you having a fighter's mind. Like what does each fighter have to do to win that fight?
Well, first and foremost, preparation is going to be the key. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you got two good fighters. You got one older guy, one younger guy, and the older guy wants to show that he's still qualified to compete against the young opposition. So he'll have a golden opportunity come fight night. And then you got Earl Spence, the young guy that's pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world as well. He wants to show that he's ready to, expand and grow and to overcome and to show that he's the best welterweight in the world. So fight night, we'll get a chance to see.
And Mike, what do you think it means to the history of boxing with Manny Pacquiao at his advanced age taking such a dangerous fight and not just coming up off of the belt, but having a youngster come get it? What do you think about that? What do you think that says?
I mean, it's going to be a historic event due to the fact that, it's in the welterweight division. And over the last 30, 40 years, we've seen some of the best welterweights in the world with the legendary Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Thomas Hitman Hearns, Wilfredo Benitez, and now we got these young guys, Spence and Earl Spence and this Crawford coming up. So hey, they want to be named as one of the best welterweights, as well as those guys with those big names. So it's going to be exciting, man. I mean, it's going to be a big fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
I know.
He got an opportunity to show that if he's still qualified to be in the ring, to be able to deal with these young guns that are out there. And in my mind, and him being a champion as many times he's been a champion, I'm sure that he's prepared at his best. And so fight night, we'll be able to see the best from both men. We'll be able to see the best from both men, and whoever wins the fight deserve to be called one of the best welterweights in the world.
I know you were a southpaw when you were a pro. This is the first time that both Errol and Manny have faced a southpaw. They're both southpaws. What are some of the problems that they could encounter, them being both southpaws?
Well, believe it or not, it's going to be very awkward. Two southpaws fighting one another. I mean, they just got to preparation got to overdo everything. I mean, I'm sure they got a bunch of southpaws, guys that they're sparring with to prepare for the moment. It's gonna be exciting. I mean, I'm just waiting to see it. You got two of the best southpaws at it, going at the head.
So we just got a fan comment, and a cool part about this show is fans get to directly interact with us. And the fan comment says, "Roy Jones versus Nunn, 2021, make it happen." Are you a fan of these exhibitions, Michael?
Sounds good.
Well,
what do you make of these exhibitions?
Now that I'm older, I mean, I'd rather do an exhibition than a real fight. And if the right opportunity comes along, I'll be more than happy to get in and do an exhibition. And me and Roy Jones will be a dynamite fight because, we were supposed to fight years ago. Unfortunately, it never took place, but there's no greater time than the present. So, Mr. Roy Jones, whenever you're ready, I'm available, brother. I seen you in the Mike Tyson exhibition a few months ago, and it was exciting, and I'd like to be a part of something as major as that is. And hope you guys look good out there.
What happened? Why didn't that fight ever get made?
I mean, you got to ask the promoters. You got to ask, the people that run boxing. I mean, I was always willing to fight, but unfortunately, they didn't want to make the fight because they was a champion, and that's all they had to do was just, make it happen. They had the key to the mailbox, but unfortunately, they never turned it over. But it's a fight that we all long for, and there's no time greater than the present. We can potentially still make it happen.
And you know what? One thing, Mike, that a lot of people don't know about you in particular, I've gotten a chance to be with you and your lovely fiance over at the house having dinner. A lot of cats don't know how good a shape you're still in. Still long, still lean, still able to move, man. Talk about how you've kept yourself so preserved, brother, and just so put together and still ready to roll. Still look good, man.
But no doubt about it, man. I thank God for, blessing me with those dynamics and the DNA to, be able to be strong, in my 50 plus years. And I feel good. I try to take care of myself as far as my eating and, getting the proper rest and things of that nature. But, it makes me feel good when people see me and tell me, hey, champ, you still look good. Because a lot of times, when guys are no longer participating in their sport, they'll gain a lot of weight or they'll get lazy and they'll just, they just sit, their bodies go to the wayside. And I don't want to never be like that. I always want to look like a champion. I mean, I'm a champion, so you look like a champion. You know what I'm saying? Age is nothing but a number. So you take care of yourself and try to look good.
No doubt.
Michael, I got to ask you because I know a lot of water. That's the key. Drink water. Don't drink soda.
Don't drink
That's
beer.
what I hear from a lot of people.
Don't drink beer like me.
Yeah, Marcus drinks beer. Michael, I got to ask you, man. I hear this being asked to a lot of the older fighters if they feel that the fighters now are better than the fighters back then. So I'm going to ask you the same question, man. Do you feel skill for skill the fighters now are at the same level as the fighters when you competed against?
Well, you got to understand, every era we have in boxing is always going to be whatever era is coming behind the era that's already produced or done what they've done. They're always going to say that they're better. I'm a firm believer in putting guys in the ring and let them fight. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way you can really determine who's the best. You got a lot of good young fighters that are coming up. They got great styles. But, I like my style, the Ray Leonards, the Thomas Hearns, the Muhammad Ali's, and, the guys like that. The Roberto Duran's, the Carlos Monzones, the Salvador Sanchez's, the Julio Cesar Chavez, the Mike Tyson's, the Pernell Whitakers. That's my era, and I think that's one of the greatest eras in boxing. And you go back to the history of boxing, and those divisions we talked about forever and a day, because they created a lot of champions in the last 30, 40 years. And I think they're some of the best of all time. And I think we could have competed in whatever era, whether it's old or new. But, these new guys, they got a chance to prove themselves. And the only way they can prove it is by getting in the ring and fighting the best opposition and doing it like that. But talking about it's not going to get it done. Now, they got a lot of talent. Now they got to go out there and, execute and beat the best guys and look good doing it. And they can be qualified or mentioned with, some of the best that ever done it. And I mean, I'm sure that's their mindset. That's their motivation to, when you mention legendary Roberto Duran or Sugar Ray Leonard or Thomas Hitman's Hearns or Marvin Hagler, these young middleweights today that are coming up, they're doing phenomenally well because I've been watching them. The Canelos and the Charlo brothers and guys like that. So, they want to be mentioned with the best. And to be mentioned with the best, you got to not only beat the best, but, you got to just reign supreme over everybody. You got to dominate.
That's been a big issue that fans have said about boxing is that the best don't fight the best consistently. Right. In your era and in past eras, we did see the best fight the best consistently. In your opinion, what do you think went wrong there? Why did fighters stop fighting the best consistently, in your opinion?
To be honest, I don't know because, I thought I was the best middleweight in the world when I was middleweight champion in the world. And unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to fight some of the better guys, the legendary guys. But, I guess it's called boxing. I guess, it just wasn't meant to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but when you're the best, you want to fight and beat the best. And, you let your ring skills, determine that because anybody can say something out of their mouth, don't cost nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, fights are won inside the ring. So I've always been a firm believer in that. But, guys say they're the best and you're not proving it means nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you fight the best guys, you beat the best guys. That's how we're going to determine if you're good or not or if you're the best or not. We can't be having one guy on the East Coast saying this and another guy on the West Coast saying this and another guy in the Midwest saying this. We got to bring these guys together and we got to form some type of union and we got to figure it out. We got to put them in the ring because fights are won inside the ring. They're not won in ringside. You know what I'm saying? They're not won in press conference. They're won inside the ring. So I'm old school and I'm always going to be with the guy that wants to get in the ring and fight and to prove his lot, in this great sport of boxing. So I'm just a firm believer in getting in the ring and proving it, not just talking about it. You know what I'm saying? We can talk to it, turn purple in the face. At the end of the day, the number chopped up bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is, man. Chopped up bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It means nothing. Get in the ring and fight.
Period.
To you new fans
want to see. Pardon me?
No, I was going to say, to the new fans watching, they might not know, you were a world champion at middleweight and super middleweight, 2-division world champion. Mm-hmm. Curious, what do you make of the champions right now at middleweight and super middleweight? At middleweight, we got Golovkin, we got Jamal Charlo. At super middleweight, we have Canelo that just about has all the belts and Caleb Plant. But with your eye, what do you make of the talent there in those two divisions?
It's a multi-talented division with your welterweights, your junior middleweights, and your middleweights, and even your super middleweights. You got some guys out there that are cracking, and what these guys need to do, they need to determine on who's going to be the best champion, and not have so many different champions. Get in the ring and fight, and cut these champions down. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got enough good guys out there to make this happen, and whoever wants to be the best, just be the best by getting in the ring and fighting. We understand it takes a little time with the different promoters because all the guys are not promoted by the same promoter. So unfortunately, one promoter might want to hold his guy out for a bigger payday or for whatever reason. But let these guys fight, man. I mean, they're young, and the fans want to see it. So if they make the fights, the fans are going to definitely come out and support it.
Very, very true, man. Very, very true. But Canelo, it's looking like Canelo it might be on his way to like being an all-time great. When you look at his skills, what do you see there? Let me know. I'm curious to see what's really your take on what Canelo's displayed in these fights that he's had these past few years.
Well, past few years that I've been watching, I mean, Canelo's he's definitely one of the top fighters in the world. He's proven it by getting in the ring, doing the things that he's done. His only loss was Money Mayweather. So after that, I mean, he's been on a tear. He was on a tear before Money disrupted his winning streak, and since then he's done continued to winning streak. So I mean, he's definitely one of the top fighters in the world. And I didn't mention his name, but I should have mentioned his name because he's proven that by getting in the ring, doing what he's doing. He's beating everybody that's been put in front of him since his loss to Mayweather. So we gotta definitely throw Canelo up in that bunch of great fighters or young guys as far as the pound for pound movement. So yes, we must do that. It's only official.
Gennady Golovkin was middleweight champion, and he had a streak for a very, very long time. And I've been wanting to ask you this. During his peak, how do you think he would have done against the likes of you and other fighters?
Not taking nothing away from Golovkin. It was kind of weird that you say that because my trainer Joe Goosen was having a conversation, and he tells me, Mike, you run over all these middleweights today. That's what a trainer is supposed to say. But hey, these are good guys, good young fighters, and I mean, what I like about them, they try to fight the best opposition, and that's what it's all about. But I would love to, test my skills with some of these young good middleweights. You know what I'm saying? And that are participating at this time now. They're good fighters. I take nothing from them. I just tell them to stay focused and keep getting better, and just keep trying to be the best you can be. Because Golovkin's good. The Charlo brothers are doing phenomenally well as Canelo Alvarez. And then you got a couple of other young guys that are coming up, a couple of those Spanish kids that are doing well too. So, I mean, I wish them all well. And whenever they fight, I'm going to be watching them and hoping that they can, fight one another and determine on who's really the best. So we don't have to say it out of our mouths without having nothing to prove. Let's prove it by getting in the ring and winning fights, because that's what fights are wanted, inside the four corners, not outside on the street corner or in the pool hall or, in the press conference room. It's one inside the ring.
Now, Mike, I want to ask you a question. I want to put something to bed, right? My colleague mentioned about Triple G, right? Yeah. And a lot of folks don't know that you were groomed by probably arguably the greatest middleweight of all time. May his soul rest forever, the legendary, marvelous Marvin Hagler. Tell me how Marvin Hagler, how Triple G rather would fare versus Marvin Hagler in an all-time great fantasy match. What you think?
I understand one thing. It'd be a great fight for a few rounds. We got to give Marvin all the props in the world. Let the Marvin rest in peace forever and a day. A great champion that gave me a lot of inspiration as a young fighter coming up. So, I mean, Marvin was one of a kind. I mean, look at the Thomas Hearns and the Sugar Ray Leonards and the Roberto Durans. Not taking nothing from Golovkin. Being in the ring with a guy like Marvin Hagler, he would have to be at his best just to be able to deal with what Marvin was going to bring, because it's going to be thunder, man. Thunder and lightning, no doubt about it. And, I mean, hey, it wouldn't be no easy task being in there with the marvelous one, because he's one of the greatest middleweights of all time. No matter what area you put Marvin in, Mr. Marvin Hagler, he's going to be able to compete. And, this guy was just one of the best, man. And, let his soul rest in peace forever, man, because we all admired and loved Marvin, man. And, I remember, when I was a young fighter coming up, he used to tell me, be at Caesar's Palace like 5:45 in the morning. If I'm not there, the van's going to go across the street to it was the Sands Hotel at the time. They had a golf course over there, and we would run like 5 miles. And it was like this here. If you wasn't there at 5:45 in the morning, Marvin see you later on the day and that afternoon at the gymnasium, which is at Johnny Taco's boxing gym. He wouldn't even speak to you because you gave him his word, you didn't stand on it. And he was just a real supreme guy, man. And I liked him and the Petronelli brothers, the manager and the trainer, some dynamite guys. And, Marvin just super guy. So, and if any middleweight's going to get in the ring, with one thing I'm going to tell you to be prepared because it's going to be a whole bunch of body snatching going on, man. Whole head to head rocking, you know what I'm saying? He's going to let him go. So, I mean, Marvin's one of the best middleweights of all time. So whoever's going to fight him, be ready. That's all I can tell you.
When did you first meet Marvin? How old were you?
When I done what?
How old were you when you first met Marvin?
When I met Marvin, I was probably 21 years old. I was a young middleweight, young guy coming up, and it was kind of weird because I'm at Caesar's Palace when he's fighting. I think it's John the Beast Mugabe, and I'm sitting there watching these guys, and it was like two mad trucks running into each other, like kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. I look next to my manager, Dan Goosen. I said, I'm gonna be in the ring fighting these guys. I better get myself in shape. So I think Dan Goosen took me to that fight for a reason. Him and Bob Arum had me there to be able to see what a real middleweight championship fight looked like because I was a young middleweight they were grooming and bringing up. So they were showing me that I was going to be ready and prepared because, having listened to Marvin Hagler and John the Beast Mugabe just, the ring shots off each other. It was like two Mack trucks just collide, man. Kaboom, 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 kaboom. I'm like, I got to get ready if I'm going to be a middleweight, man. These guys are hitting like heavyweights, man. So, I mean, it was a blessing. And I thank Mr. Arum and Dan Goosen for bringing me to the stadium that night to show me what I was preparing myself for later on down the road. And I'm glad I prepared myself to get ready to become a middleweight champion. And watching guys like Thomas Hearns, Ray Leonard, Duran, and Hagler, them guys all inspired me to want to be a champion.
Yeah, Dan was one of those characters that only in boxing you'd go and you'd discover, man. I remember my interactions with him. Always dressed fly, always colorful blazers, but he was so nice to me because I met him very early on when I started in boxing.
Hmm.
Who was that you said you met early on?
Dan Goosen.
Oh, no, man. Charismatic guy, man. And, Dan was good, man. Let him rest in peace, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we started at the bottom and rose to the top together. So, it was a blessing working with the Team Goose Boxing Organization. And I can't say enough about Joe Goosen. I mean, one thing about the man, he always had me prepared and ready to go for whatever we had to go through, whether we had to, climb a mountain or go under a mountain or do whatever. He always had me prepared to do whatever we needed to do to get the victory. So, yeah.
Did Joe ever give you any of his suits, any of his shirts, any of his denim jackets as souvenirs?
No, one thing about it, hey, Joe's a Hollywood guy, so, hold on to his clothes, man. I mean, Joe, he's gonna hang on to them clothes, man. He's that beach guy, you know what I'm saying? So
he never took you shopping for clothes?
Oh yeah, we go shopping every week, matter of fact. I mean, he was in training camp, we go different places and he'd want to pick out different this and this, different that. But yeah, Joe was always a flashy guy, you know what I'm saying? The California sunshine.
You know what, Mike?
Yes, sir.
You know what? You always speak so fondly, not just on camera, but of the Goosens in general. But talk to me about, or talk to us and the fans about the loyalty and sticking with one team. I mean, you stayed with them. You never lost with the Goosens at all. You stayed with the Goosens. You fought with them. You, like you said, you went from the bottom to the top with them, man. What was that ride like?
The ride was a very sensational ride due to the fact that when I was coming up, they hadn't produced no champions, and I become their first champion. And after that, Joe Goosen, he ran off a factory of champions, but it made me feel good, coming up with 10 Goose from the bottom to the top and being able to rise to the top. And they had a lot of confidence in me. Bob Arum, Dan Goosen, Joe Goosen, Bob Sirkine, and my family and stuff. And I don't know where I'd be without them. And I think all those names that I named for inspiring me to want to be a world champion. And even my cousin, Uncle Marshall Jackson, I mean, he stayed on me, man. They seen all the talent in me. When you're young, you don't see a lot of things that the older people see. I guess that's why you got to go through life to go through it. But these people had seen this talent in me and told me, hey, man, once the people see you, man, they're going to make sure they put you on TV. So I used to like, really? And, I'm young, just thinking I had all the answers. But them guys, they led me in the right direction. So, being able to, work with the Goosens and Mr. Sirkine and Bob Arum at the time, it was a great experience for all of us. And, So we went from the bottom to the top. And me winning that world title July 28th, 1988 at Caesar's Palace, I was like me shocking the world because they thought it couldn't be done. And with the grace of God, he gave me the strength to be able to, get Frank Tate out of there in the 9th round and become the IBF middleweight champion of the world. So it was exciting, man. And, I'd like to give Joe a lot of credit because one thing about it, the man always had me in the best of shape. And he used to always tell me, he'd tell me, hey, give me 6-7 weeks with Nunn in training camp. We don't care who he fights, you know what I'm saying? Bring King Kong on. That's just the mindset that they had. And it was always great. So, I can just go back and just, resonate about those days forever and a day because we had so many great times together. So it was great,
Yeah, after that
good unit like that, you know what I'm saying? And
after that Frank fight, Michael, you went on and defended your title against Roldan, Colombe, but then there's a name here that I just want to know, man. How was it like sharing the ring with the Blade with Iran Barkley?
Oh man,
you fought him in Reno.
It's like being in New York City caught up in one of those gangways. It was hell. You know what I mean? Iran Barkley was that out there. A real physical, strong, tough. Just die-hard type of guy. Don't let up and just gonna constantly put relentless pressure on you. And the guy's gonna always come to fight. And Iran had told me when he got ready to fight me, I guess his manager was taking different parts of the country, the East Coast, West Coast, the Midwest, spar with different slick southpaws like myself. He done everything in his power to get ready for me, and he fought like hell. And we went 12 hard rounds. It was a hard fight, and I had to use all my skills that night because Iran brought the best out in me. I tip my hat to Mr. Iran, the Blade Barkley, one of the toughest middleweights in the world, and very relentless, and just didn't have no quit in him, you know what I'm saying? And I had to come down off my toes and fight this guy because we was like two alley cats, man. Hey, he brought out the best of me that night, and I think I ran for, bringing out the best of me because it was a good night and it was a rough night, and he was one of the best middleweights out there, and I tip my hat to the gentleman.
Man, Mike, I tell you all the time, man, you were my dad's favorite fighter. Definitely at one point, man. I remember sitting on my dad's lap, may his soul rest forever, and just watching him just so thrilled and enthralled with the way that what you call now that I know you is picking and poking. How you would just get your head out the way, but make sure that bam, that hand is coming behind there, man. It was such an unbelievable pleasure and a treasure to watch you box. I actually remember watching the lead up to the Iran Barkley fight. You and Iran Barkley were on Arsenio Hall talking smack. Iran Barkley was in the audience.
that was real big because at the time Arsenio had one of the top shows in the country, and I was actually be a guest on there as part of the promotional thing up into the leading up to the Iran Barkley fight. And it was exciting being on our Arsenio Hall show, and everybody get a chance to see me and having Iran in the audience. It was great. Great.
Man, that was crazy, man.
Yeah, you went 12 rounds with Iran. You got a majority decision. He was just known for so many things. But how was this punch? How was taking a punch from the Blade?
Oh man, it was easy. Thank God for Joe Goosen had me in such great shape, had me up in those mountains training, getting me ready to be able to go to war with this guy because that's what it was. It was 12-round war with this guy. And he's just so relentless, wouldn't quit. He only know one way to fight is come get you. He's not going to give you no room. And that was his style of fighting, is trying to be the more bigger physical guy and stand on top of me because he knew I was going to box him because, you don't sit in there bang with a guy like Iran Barkley. It's not worth it. The guy hits like a mule kicking. Yeah,
for real.
He's just boxing.
And then, you went and you fought James Toney. It didn't go your way. But, what would you say about that fight now, reflecting back on it?
Well, we got to understand one thing about a fight. When you fight, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. And, I had to accept my lot. Hey, I was winning the fight, got careless. We can't take nothing from James Toney. James Toney, he come to fight. He wanted to become the middleweight champion of the world, and he done that night. So, it's been over 30-some years ago. If I didn't complain then, I can't complain now. I just wish we could have fought again, but unfortunately we didn't. But, me and James are the best of friends. Matter of fact, I just spoke to James yesterday. I'll probably catch up with him maybe tomorrow. But like I said, we're dear friends, and
what's up, James?
It's something of the past, you know what I'm saying? But hey, you live and learn.
That's so cool though that you guys are able to, after all these years, still have a good relationship with each other and be able to talk and be friends.
Well, it is, and it's kind of weird that you say that because I just had lunch with Alex Ramos and Mrs. Jackie and her husband the other day, and me and Alex, once upon a time we fought again. We fought, but we were fighting because it was a business, and it's great now that we're older. We can look back and sit down and have lunch and have a cup of coffee and reminisce about when we fought or whatever, and not have no animosity. And I think that's the greatest thing about it. And even with James, Tony, Iran Barkley, Alex Ramos, we all good friends. John Scully. I mean, man, we like best of friends. You see us together, you would never know we was in the ring fighting one another once upon a time. We was trying to knock each other's heads off, but it just goes to show that when you grow up, you can accept things. And like I said, it was nothing personal. It was all business. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to get to a certain plateau as well as I was. So I can't take nothing from them trying to get to the top of the mountaintop. I mean, we didn't do nothing but fight. And, we fought, and whatever happened, and just keep it moving. Thank God for that. But now that we're older, we can look back and we can reminisce about it. And I think that's a great part about it.
No, definitely.
No hard feelings, and just enjoy our company.
No, it's like you guys are a part of a fraternity, and regardless of
that's what it is.
Yeah,
talk,
regardless of what happens in the ring, you guys have that shared experience with each other.
Oh, no doubt about it, because they helped me get to a certain plateau as well as I helped them get to a certain plateau. So that's our blessing, man. Thank God for that.
Given your hindsight now, your perspective, what advice would you give the fighters of today?
Listen to your managers, listen to your trainers, and always come in the ring in the best condition, and be able to go out and be the best you can be, win, lose, or draw, and not make excuses. Whatever you do, you had the fight coming up. Get in the best condition, be the best you can be, and whatever happens, let the chips fall where they fall, and don't make no excuses. Hey, get back in the dungeon and get a rematch and win the fight. Don't talk about what you could have done when you had a chance to do it. You didn't do it. And that's what I like about the Haglers, the Ray Leonards, the Thomas Hearns, and the Roberto Durans, and the legendary Muhammad Ali. Hey, if you're going to talk it, you just got to be able to walk it, man, because there's no time for no excuses, because at the end of the fight, there's no pity party. You just got to stand on what you say. If you're going to talk like you this monster, be that monster. That's all I'm saying. Don't wait till the fight's over with and then something happens and you lose and then you want to make 1,000 excuses. Accept your lot, man. Get back in the gym, bust your butt, and come back and try to, take care of your business. Don't sit around and make a bunch of excuses.
And with that, Mike, right? Something that I know that you're still really paying a keen eye to boxing, and everything that you just said is a perfect segue into my next question, man, is how do you see the trilogy, Fury Wilder 3? What do you think about it, man? What do you think about?
I think it's gonna be great for the great sport of boxing due to the fact that this is gonna be the third time. So whoever wins this fight here is gonna be known as the best guy in the division, because it's gonna determine who's the best. I mean, at the press conference they can do all the talking they want to do, but on fight night we'll find out who the boss is, because it can only be one winner.
Have you watched?
The reality is gonna determine who's the best.
Have you seen? There's been a lot of clips coming out about Deontay Wilder, and there've been some boxing clips, and he appears to be trying to make a change. Do you think that if he's able to dedicate himself, that he can come back and perform and actually take his title back? You think that that's a potential? Do you think that can happen?
Can you just kind of break it upside? I didn't hear you. Can you repeat yourself, Marcus?
What I said is that we're seeing Deontay Wilder releasing all these clips with training footage. Mark Breland, the legendary Mark Breland, the greatest amateur boxer that the USA has ever produced, said that Deontay Wilder didn't really jump rope. It looks like he's kind of gotten on the rope. And what do you think about the improvements that he's made, and what are his chances in the rematch?
Well, you got to understand one thing. I mean, he's a champion. He's got a champion's mindset. He's been there before, and I'm sure he wants to regain the championship. And I guess he's doing things that he wasn't doing because, when you box, you gotta prepare, man. Preparation is definitely the key. So he's doing things he's never done. So we'll see fight night if he's made the adjustments that he needs to make to be able to, become victorious at the end of the fight. I mean, we'll see.
And based on, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I mean, training camp and everything is all great. You need that to prepare for the fight. But what are you gonna do on fight night? I mean, we need the end result, and that's victory. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's good that you do all these different training methods, but are you going to be able to make the adjustments that you need to make to be able to go to 12 rounds or even knock the guy out or whatever? Because it's a big night for both guys, because it's going to definitely determine on who the heavyweight champion is, whoever wins that bout. And God willing, it'll be a clear-cut winner. We don't want to see no draw. We want to see a great fight, because it's long anticipated, and it's a blessing that they get back in as soon as they're getting back in to try to straighten out things. And that's great. And I like to tip my hat to the promoters for making it happen, because we know fights like this, it'll take another 10 years for something like this to happen. But the promoters came together and they made it happen. So we'll get a chance to see who the best heavyweight in the world is come fight night. And I'm looking forward to it as well as everybody else in the world.
In your estimation, what are the things that you think Deontay Wilder needs to do differently to have more success versus Fury in the rematch in the trilogy?
Well, he's gonna establish a punch count. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna throw more than just a big right hand. He's gonna have to learn how to put his combinations together. You know what I'm saying? His jab, his hooks, his uppercuts, and we know you got a potent right hand. You probably got one of the best right hands we've probably seen in boxing in the history of this great sport of boxing. So the thing about it, you got to just put your shots together. You got to throw more than just one punch, because when you fight in a world title fight, a guy is willing to go through hell and high water to take whatever he's had to take care or to endure to be able to come to champion. So it's going to take just more than one punch. And my advice would be to, establish a better punch count and to, throw more than just a powerful right hand. Put your combinations together.
Yeah, man, good explanation.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments both guys are going to have. Tyson Fury is gaining a little bit more weight, he says, and he says he's going to knock out Deontay, that he's going to go right to him and try to weigh 300 pounds and make that count in the fight.
Say it again.
I said, Tyson, it's going to be interesting to see the type of adjustments that both fighters make. But Tyson Fury has said that he wants to weigh a little bit more. He wants to get up to 300 pounds, and that he expects to knock out Deontay Wilder in the fight quicker than he did in the second fight.
Wow, that's saying a lot. And he wants to gain actually like 20-some pounds. What do you weigh, like 273, 275 pounds?
Yeah.
Wow.
283 pounds in the last fight.
That's a lot of weight. But as long as you can execute, they're heavyweights, so it makes no difference how much they weigh. So because they're heavyweights, but you want to be able to execute carrying that extra 25 pounds. If you feel comfortable, hey, you don't want to got to get in the ring and fight whether you 275 pounds or 300 pounds. So it's whatever you want to do.
Do you think that he's making a preemptive excuse for under training to come in heavy, or do you think that he really just is going to come in at 300 and be in as good a shape as we've seen him in the past?
Well, this is their third fight, so whoever wins the second fight is going to be known as the best. So I'm just hoping both guys have done the right thing as far as their preparation, getting prepared for the fight to be able to determine on who's going to win the fight when they fight, to do it inside the ring, and no excuses, no the equipment or my costume was too heavy or I gained too much weight. Just get a ring and fight, and let's determine it that way.
I think
things that nature.
I think all of that really turned off a lot of fans when all that stuff started coming out.
Well, it's like this here. When you're a fighter, man, and that's why I like the old time guys, because when you see them get beat, they accept it. They sign for a rematch, or they move on down the road. There's no need sitting around talking about what you could or should have done. You knew you had to fight. You had the opportunity at night to do it. So, take care of your business, and you don't have to make no excuses. That goes for any man, not just me. Anybody that's going to get in the boxing ring and fight. There's no time for excuses. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't change nothing. Excuse is nothing but an excuse. We in boxing, we need results, not excuses.
Yeah, we need the best to fight the best consistently. That's what we need.
I'm thinking that 2021 is going to be a great year, because I see a lot of the good guys trying to fight one another, and it's going to start a fire. And when it starts that fire, we'll be able to see a lot of good classic championship fights, and we'll be able to determine on who's the best, because we'll be able to see these guys in the ring. Was determined that it's not determined on the sideline; it's determined in four squares inside the ring. So guys are, coming together trying to make things happen. So I'm all for it, man. Make it happen,
Michael. It's been great having you on here. My last question to you is if there's something you could change about boxing right now that you've seen over the past few years, or have you seen recently, what would be that one thing that if you had the power to, you would go ahead and change about the sport?
Well, there's a variety of things you would change, and I just make the best fights, man. I mean, forget all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's safe, put the best guys in the ring and let them fight, and let's determine who the best is inside the boxing ring, like it's supposed to be, man. That's the only qualm that I have, and things are starting to look better. Better than what it was. So hopefully things get better. And with Pacquiao and Spence ready to fight, hopefully they set a blaze the boxing world to bring these promoters together to put these great fighters in the ring, and let's find out who the best really is, because there's a lot of great creative fights out there, man. And we need to see them while we're still young.
Yeah, no, for sure. We can't be waiting around for 10 years for a fight to happen.
No more.
Michael, man, hey, it was an honor. Thank you so much for being on here. Go ahead and leave us. Go ahead and leave us with one last word. What do you want to tell the fans out there?
Thank you guys for having me, man. And Roy Jones, I know you're out there somewhere. We didn't get it on 20 years ago. Let's get it on right now. See you and Mike Tyson, and you guys put on a Dynamite show. Man, you need to get together and make it happen, Roy. Take it easy, and God bless.
All right. Michael Nunn, Roy Jones Jr. Exhibition 2021. We might see it.
Or Michael Nunn, Anderson Silva. Who knows?
I mean, that's right, Anderson Silva. Want to give you a congratulations. I see that you won your fight against the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez's son in Mexico. Maybe me and you can get it on, my friend, because you look real good. And I think, man, maybe you should have tried boxing, man. I mean, you're a hell of a kickboxer. You're a legend kickboxer. You could have done great in boxing, man. So congratulations on your victory over the weekend. And you too, Papa Chavez and the Charlo brother. You took care of your business, and that monster. Boy, you guys are making boxing live again, and that's what it's all about, man. It's beautiful. Thanks for the excitement.
I got to ask this real quick, though, Michael. Someone in the chat just asked this, and I think this would be pretty good, too. Michael Nunn, Evander Holyfield exhibition.
I would love that. I would love to get in the ring with Mr. Evander Holyfield. I mean, he's always been one of my favorite fighters. I mean, he was part of the 1984 Olympic team. I would love to do an exhibition with Mr. Evander Holyfield.
Yes, sir.
That'd be great. I'd love to see that.
No doubt about it. You'd have a classic boxer with a classic slugger, so it would be what the fans want to see, a classic matchup.
There we go. Michael, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for being on here with us. Really appreciate it.
I enjoyed it, man. Thank you very much, man. Look forward to
Mike, before you go, show us the Hall of Fame ring that you just got, bro. Show us the Hall of Fame ring. You've been flashing the Hall of Fame ring. Show us the ring.
Oh, there's a ring right there, man. There it is. There it is.
Bring it up to the camera.
Look at that.
Let me get a little closer, man. Wait just a second.
There we go.
There you
Class
go.
of 2021.
It's got my name on it. So, I mean, hey, if it ever get lost, they can return it to me, hopefully. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the name of the box Hall of Fame.
Mike,
Great Hogan Company. Thank you, guys.
There we go.
Davenport, Iowa.
Hall of Fame, October 17th at the West Coast Boxing Hall of Fame here in Los Angeles, California. I'm looking forward to being inducted with the legendary trainers Joe Goosen, Oscar De La Hoya, Rafael Ruelas, Gabriel Ruelas, and the legendary Effort Joffrey, and Mr. Fighting Harana from Japan, and the legendary Richard Steele, one of the best boxing referees in boxing, and my man Rick Fairs. Congratulations, you guys. See you soon. Peace. One love. All right. We out.
Thank you, Michael. Really appreciate it. That was Michael Nunn here with us. Big shout out to Marcus for making that happen, to have him on here with us. Man, that was really cool. A lot of action that happened over the weekend, Marcus. But we got to get to the main thing, because you said for weeks, Chavez Jr. is going to knock out Anderson Silva. Watch. Chavez Jr. is going to knock out Anderson Silva.
Because I said that he was going to go back and rededicate. I thought he was really going to turn something in, man. Listen, he missed weight. As soon as he missed weight.
Well, according to Junior, he never had a contract to make weight.
He never had a contract. Yeah, see, man, and here's the thing with him, man. It's got to be tough living in such a huge legend shadow.
Bro, don't make excuses for him, dog. You're making excuses for him.
I'm just saying, it's hard. A guy like me, it's hard to just dismiss somebody. I feel like I was one of the people that gave him his last little chance, man, because I remember him versus Andy Lee, right? I think that was one
That
thing.
was years ago,
That was
though, bro.
That was years ago, man. I always hoped that he was going to do something, but yeah, he got whooped on. You know what I mean? And that's it for him. I think that hey, I put faith in boxing. I didn't put faith in Chavez Jr. I put faith in boxing. I put faith in the fact that he would have some sort of discipline and say, you know what, let me take this seriously. He obviously didn't. He was a bit of a pedestrian in the ring. And to be honest, man, like the legendary Michael Nunn said, bro, listen, Anderson Silva, all jokes to the left, he may have left money on the table by not boxing, dude, because the way that he looked, I'm sure that he's past his prime. I'm sure he's past his prime, but he made Chavez Jr. look like he absolutely was a straight up pedestrian, bro. Like he could have been something, dude. Like he's a legend. He's an absolute legend in MMA, man. But let's be honest, bro. Anderson Silva, the way that he was able to move his head, he had head movement. He had punches from angles. He dominated, man. The only thing he didn't do was put punches together that were stun a guy and to knock him out. Think if he had power like back in the day, he'd have been dangerous. He fought like Michael Nunn.
Let's get to the. All right, let's get to.
I was wrong. No,
not even that. You were wrong. You were wrong.
I was wrong as hell.
But people here on the chat, those of you that have been with us week in, week out, majority of you guys all said Junior is gonna Junior. Junior is gonna mess this up like how he always messes things up.
Called it.
You guys called it. You guys know Junior. Junior's gonna Junior, and he did the most juniorish thing. Man. One, by missing weight, and two, fighting the way he did. Now, here's the truth about the fight on Saturday, okay? Right. Because a lot of people are praising Anderson Silva, and they should. They should. Mm-hmm. Anderson was dedicated. He put in the work. He beat a former world champion in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He was the underdog. He had hadn't boxed in how many years? And at the end of the day, Anderson Silva has lost like the last 8 of his last fights in the UFC or in MMA. 46 years old. Okay, he had a lot of things going against him. Had a few things going for him. More against him than for him. Like you saw the scorecard. One of the freaking guys scored it for Chavez Jr., which I have no freaking idea how you as a judge could score that fight for Chavez Jr. Luckily, the right man won. But MMA fans are celebrating. They're saying, finally, one of our guys, one of our GOATs, because Anderson, let's not get it wrong. Anderson Silva is one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time.
Absolutely.
One of our guys finally got the win over a legitimate pro boxer who could fight, who was a middleweight champion. They're celebrating. You guys are wrong. You guys are wrong to celebrate. Yes, the optics of this looks good. Anderson Silva beat a guy who has more boxing experience than him, who's been fighting his whole entire life in one sport, and who was at one point a legitimate middleweight world champion. That was not who Anderson Silva fought on Saturday night. The guy that Anderson Silva fought on Saturday night was a shadow of his former self, a guy who has a lot of problems outside of the ring, who's not dedicated, and who's not even close to his prime. That's the guy that Anderson Silva fought. And Anderson fought a heck of a fight and a hell of a performance for a guy the age that he has. But let's not get it twisted. He wasn't in there with the boxer in his prime. He wasn't in there with a guy that was a killer. He was in there with a guy that was a shadow of himself. And he did what I think a lot of people in Anderson's position would have beaten a guy like Junior if Junior hadn't been training. Now, here's the thing that people don't know that I know because I work the card, okay? And some things I can't share, but I'm going to share what I can because we were asked by Chavez Sr. in the fighter meetings to not share certain things. But from what I can tell you, Junior did not train for that fight. He has other problems happening with him. And this is not an excuse. It's going to sound like that because, like I said, I have no stock in Junior. I don't know freaking Chavez Jr. He like Bob Arum once said, he's a mess up. He's a mess up. I'm keeping it PG.
Absolutely.
But Senior got so fed up with Junior that he left him alone. He brought him in camp with him. And it was such a stressful experience for him that he's like, you know what? I got to focus on this exhibition on my own. And there's a lot of things that happened with Junior. Probably things will come out. And it's hard to phrase this a certain way because I want to be respectful to what Senior asked us not to share. But overall, the same problems that have plagued Junior in the past are still plaguing him. And in terms of that, I'll leave it at that. But watching Anderson, though, in the ring, calling the fight was one of the coolest freaking things I've seen in a long, long time because, one, Anderson was taunting. I think the moment that Anderson started taunting Chavez, that was it. Like he got in Chavez's head, and you could tell at that point, like Chavez, I don't know if he was mentally defeated, but it gave so much confidence to Anderson Silva that at that point, Anderson just put it on him. And I think that was a big shift for the fight. Anderson brought his son with him. His son was going crazy in the corner. He brought, I think it was Little Nog, Antonio Rodrigo Noguera, the little brother, the little twin. He was there. He was going nuts and crazy. But I think the coolest freaking thing of the night was Canelo getting up in the ring and congratulating Anderson Silva for beating a guy that he beat. To me, that was the coolest thing in the world. I spoke to Anderson after the fight, and he was starstruck. He was telling me he was he was like, this is not real life. Like I was just watching Canelo's fights the night before the fight. I got yelled at by my coach for staying up late because I was watching Canelo fight, and then there's Canelo congratulating me. I asked him to go ahead and sign my glove. There's no way this can be happening. And it made me feel like a freaking MMA fan again. And I haven't been an MMA fan in a long, long time. Okay. And seeing Anderson do that, even though I know what version of Chavez Jr. was, a guy nowhere near his prime anymore. A guy, look at the last two guys that Chavez Jr.'s fought. They weren't any good. And he struggled with them. Casares, come on.
Casares broke that nose.
It was a great performance by Anderson, but it's hard to gauge where Anderson's at against a boxer because honestly, Junior didn't train. Junior didn't train at all. He didn't train. He spent more time doing other stuff than training.
Okay, so let's just go back real quick because once again, I think we're forgetting something, right? Listen, when you sign the fight, that's what your job is. No one cares about what else you got going on. It's your job to compartmentalize and overcome and win. No. Listen,
this is Junior we're talking about, dog.
That's the
bigger
thing,
than everything.
Oh well, and that's the thing. So he lost. He lost to a 46-year-old dude who's older than him, right? He got dotted up, touched up, poked up, and embarrassed and humiliated again, right? There was more home cooking in that. I felt like, man, there was like some chilaquiles or something, homie, on the table, bro. When I saw that scorecard that came out, ridiculous, that said that this guy actually won. Come on, man, that's absolutely ridiculous. And Anderson Silva beat him going away. But yeah, no, we can't take. I'm not going to take anything from Anderson Silva and say, yeah, blah blah. No, Anderson Silva did beat. He didn't change his name, did he? He didn't change his social security number. He still got the same shoes and drawers and cars and house. He lost. Chavez Jr., ex-middleweight champion of the world, who defeated Andy Lee and took Sergio Martinez to the brink. He got beat up by Anderson Silva, a 46-year-old OL, right? I mean, that's what the truth is. We need to start disemboweling those people that are hiding behind us with the truth, bro. The truth does hurt. Anderson Silva, you won. You have the right to move along. I think they probably need to bump Belfort out the way and let Oscar De La Hoya and him.
No. I like that fight. Let Vitor fight Oscar.
Vitor is good, bro. Vitor is good.
Let them both be on TRT. And if Vitor's on TRT, put your money on Vitor Belfort. Put your money on him if it's TRT Vitor. I like Vitor's chances if it's TRT Vitor. If they're doing drug testing and all that, okay, give it to Oscar. But if it's TRT Vitor, I'd put my money on him. And speaking of putting money, we got to give our betting sponsor a big shout out, mybookie.ag. If you would have bet Anderson Silva last weekend, you would have won money because Anderson was a plus 200. I put 200 on him. I won money. So those of you guys that have a mybookie.ag account, you guys made some money.
Yeah, man.
But with that being said, Marcus, I just got to put out the odds there because they are our betting partner. This weekend, Vasily Lomachenko, Masayoshi Nakatani plus 700. I don't know, man. Nakatani's a tough dude. He gave Lomachenko a hard time. He stopped Verdejo as well. He's a big guy for Vasily Lomachenko to go ahead and fight. And it's looking like big guys can give Vasily Lomachenko a lot of problems. The last few guys that he's fought have been bigger than him, and Lomachenko hasn't looked like the Lomachenko when he's been fighting smaller guys. Call me crazy, okay? I would not be surprised if Nakatani ends up upsetting Lomachenko. And if he does, you're going to win a lot of money, plus 700.
Good night.
Deontay Wilder.
Take that.
We'll get into that right now. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Deontay Wilder, plus 210. That's a good bet. You can't count out a guy like Deontay Wilder just because of the knockout ratio. Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, minus 120 both. They're even money on this mybookie.ag sportsbook right now. George Kambosos Jr., Teofimo Lopez, that fight postponed, but the odds on Kambosos have gone down now to plus 500. Manny Pacquiao, Errol Spence Jr. You heard Michael Nunn just now saying that, hey, it's a good fight. It can go either way. Plus 165 Manny Pacquiao for that Errol Spence Jr. fight. Sign up with mybookie.ag. Use our promo code FightHub. They'll match your deposit up to $500, I believe, with that. So if you're into doing all the online betting and all that, go ahead and check out mybookie.ag. All right. Let's go back to these fights that happened over the weekend. Hold on, Yusuf. What's up, Yusuf? Plus 700. How much does that get you? You've bet 100. If you bet $100, you get 700. That's what the odds
plus your money back, right?
Plus your money back, right? Plus your 100 back. Woo. So that's what it means. So, like I'm saying, I wouldn't be surprised, bro, because look, Nakatani has a style that's given Lomachenko problems in the past.
Absolutely.
Look at what happened with Salido. Yes, I understand Lomachenko is a hell of a lot better fighter than he is now than when he fought against Salido. But a bigger guy going against a smaller guy, and I'm telling you, Nakatani's going to be able to take these punches. Lomachenko might have to chop the tree down like someone else had mentioned, but honestly, I would not be surprised if Nakatani pulls up the upset because of that.
Man, look, I really think that Lomachenko, see, here's the thing. If Lomachenko can't get inside on Nakatani, and there's going to be a price to pay to get inside, I think that Lomachenko's shown that he can be hit, but I also think that Loma's on a mission. You're getting ready to find out how real Lomachenko is or if that was a flash in the pan. This is an interesting fight for both guys. I feel like Nakatani We're forgetting the fact that he's coming off of a pair of broken eye sockets. They have been repaired, but he does have that in the past. But I don't think that Loma has that jarring power to really make that a huge issue. If he can't hurt him, woo! I mean, man, I take that bet, man. I'm serious. I'm taking that bet.
It's a good bet, dude.
That's a huge bet, bro.
For $100, I would put $100 for plus 700 because of that, because of what you're saying.
My guy, that Friday is payday. I think I might have to drop 3 beans on that, right? We got 150 in the pocket right now. You just have another one. You could make a big play, man, have a nice little summer off of that. So, it's interesting, bro. I think that, and Hurricane Hank, yes, I think that he does have the power definitely to get Loma's attention.
Bro,
he's got that long range power. He's got that long range
Verdejo down. Of course he's going to have the power. He's a big dude for that weight class, and Lomachenko's a very undersized lightweight.
And here's the thing that we're forgetting, or that people may be overlooking with Nakatani. Nakatani can take it and dish it out. He can take the hell out of some punishment. You go back to his fight with Verdejo, man, he dipped down deep as far as getting dropped, looking like he was all but out, and then he got up, man, and he let it hang. And I really think he's a live dog in this fight, dude. This is a tough fight for Lomachenko, and I think that there's a chance that Lomachenko could lose and have to go back to the picking pile, bro. This is a 50-50 fight. No, a lot
of people are saying Verdejo isn't Loma, though. Very true, but physicality does play a part in fights. So it's gonna be interesting to see, especially with all the excuses that Lomachenko came up with after the Teofimo Lopez fight, to see how he comes out with this. And I think you're right, Marcus. I think it's something similar that we've seen before with fighters. When they take losses, they come back with like a rage. And I think Lomachenko has a lot to prove in this fight.
Absolutely, he does. He's got a lot to prove. He's got his contemporaries are still on the top of the game. You got his buddy Alexander Usyk is right there getting ready to get about with Joshua. He likes the spotlight. He wants to be in the spotlight. He feel like he deserves to be in the spotlight. And moreover, the things that I do like, I don't really care for the excuses that he may have made about Teofimo Lopez, but I love the energy where he's like, bro, run it back. What you walking away for then? Run it back. Run it back. You took my belt, but run it back. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't beat up. You really didn't do as much as you act like you did against me. If it's so important, run it back. Let's go. I look, man, I do respect Lomachenko for taking this fight, man. It's going to be interesting the first couple of rounds. If Lomachenko comes forward, which I just don't see him doing versus Nakatani, man. If he stays out and is cautious, Nakatani's arms are too long for him to win an outright boxing match versus Nakatani unless he's thrown to the body. Interesting fight.
Yeah,
he's got balls, bro. He's got balls.
Well, he's not like in a position either, though, where he could, pick and choose because he's coming off a loss, You know
what, though? But just a point that he is not trying to pick it. He could. No, he could. He's got the name where he can go in and fight Miguel Angel Torres Jr. from somewhere with a decent record that we know he's going to work over. No, he's coming out and he's fighting a known guy. He knows how important it is for him to get a name on his on the subsequent fight after a loss. This shows that boxing means a lot to him, man. Hats off to Lomachenko and Nakatani for putting it on the line, bro. Awesome.
There's two good comments here that I want to come up to. One, the Rosado KO, because Marcus, you were texting me live when I was on this Chavez show saying Beck the Bully's gonna knock freaking Gabe Rosado out. I saw the knockout. I didn't see the fight, and then all of a sudden, like 5 seconds later, I see your text. Well, never mind.
Never mind. Man, Beck the Bully, bro. A couple weeks ago when I went up to Indio with Brandon Figueroa and his family and with Joel Diaz. Listen, if you go back to that interview and listen to me talking to Joel Diaz when he's talking about a lot of different things and listen to the background. This dude is throwing some absolute bombs. He hits hard as hell. It was definitely alarming to watch him punch the bag. But His kryptonite was just, look, you train in the Army. It's this thing called battle focus training, FM 21-26, which is battle focus training, which says that we train the way that we fight. And he was training, boom, 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 but he wasn't, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't methodical.
He's super telegraph.
Comes straight forward.
Yeah.
He sends a postcard before the fight. I mean, before the punch is thrown, bro. And hats off to Gabe Rosado from the Wild Card Gym, man. I mean, you could see it in his eyes where he was like, he's getting ready to throw the same ass punch. He's trying to angle to throw it, and he loaded up, backed up, and when he threw it, bro, it was beautiful. Beautiful, and, beautiful counter.
This is a golden opportunity for Rosado because a lot of people
deserve Rosado's warrior.
Look. A lot of people, me included, felt that he beat Danny Jacobs. I felt he beat Danny Jacobs. And now coming off the Jacobs performance, now this knockout, you know, I know Munguia said he wants to face Rosado. That's a great fight. I hope Rosado is able to drum up one more win and then fight for a title again. And hopefully finally win something that's evaded him his whole entire career, that being a world title. Because if there's one guy that really has put in the effort and has just gone through a murderer's freaking row of just tough damn fights and never had it the easy way, it's Gabe freaking Rosado, man.
Man, if you go back and look at Rosado, bro, and look at how the losses that he's had, his loss resume looks similar to somebody like Yuriorkis Gamboa. He's not getting beat by bums, even though Gamboa lost to one guy that doesn't have a real popular household name. You look back on it, he's lost to a proverbial who's who in any division that he's been in. And the thing is you've had to beat, batter, bloody, and KO Rosado to get him out of there, bro. One of Philly's finest, man. It was so nice to watch the genuine elation when he landed that counter punch.
Did you see Bernard Hopkins? Bernard Hopkins was going crazy.
B-Hop was type 2, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, B-Hop from Philly. Man. Rosado's his dude. It's his guy.
Man, I was pumping. I was pumped because, you know, it's nice to see, like you said, he did beat Danny Jacobs, and there's nothing wrong. And there's nothing wrong with saying that he beat Danny Jacobs because it's just the truth. Honestly, it's the absolute truth. He did beat Danny Jacobs, and he deserved that win because he won. So, you know, it's nice to see him get something in his favor, some good karma with a huge KO, bro. He deserved it, man. Not just the love that he's getting from Creed. He's way more than just Creed, bro. Gabe Rosado is the game.
Big ups to Gabe. I'm going to work on trying to get him on here for next week. Alex wants to know, who's more likely to win Saturday, Barrios or Nakatani? I'll give my answer, and then I'll ask you, Marcus. But I think, honestly, Nakatani for me because of what we were talking about the last few minutes. With Barrios, he's in there with a huge freaking puncher in Tank, and he gets hit a lot. You don't want to get hit by a huge puncher like Tank because I've heard stories that Tanks put freaking middleweights on their butt in sparring. But for you, who's more likely to win Saturday, Barrios or Nakatani?
You know what, man, not to sound like a broken record, but to be honest, I really believe what you said. I think that, and I'll tell you why. I think Nakatani, like we talked about before, Nakatani is a tall order, no pun intended, for Lomachenko. And I also feel like as far as the Tank Barrios fight goes, Barrios is brave. Barrios is a warrior, but to be honest, I think that Barrios is going to lack the movement needed to get away from Tank. I think that there'll be sequences where he's going to find out, hey, this dude is banging me and I need to get out of here, and he's not going to be able to get away. I feel like, you know, we may be looking at another Tank Davis KO, man. No disrespect to Mario Barrios. He's a good guy, man. I just feel like he is stationary enough, and he was targeted by Tank Davis and his folks. That was a smart pick. I think that we're going to see that come to fruition on Saturday night.
I'm gonna give my take on the Tank Barrios fight right now and my keys to victories, but I want to touch on this comment because my initial response is, bro, you are freaking tripping, dog. Come on, bro. This guy Chavez fought was not the MMA beast who Silva was 10 years ago. So let's not get it twisted. The truth is, the Anderson Silva 10 years ago would still beat the best version of Chavez. Get the fuera. No, bro, no.
Dude,
as good as Anderson Silva was, okay? As good as he was back in his prime, all right? And he was freaking good, and he would have done well. He would have done well against an in prime Chavez Jr. But an in prime Chavez Jr. would have cornered him, cut the ring off, and pounded on him until he eventually would have stopped him. Anderson had already been knocked out before, I believe, in a fight that I don't know if it was even sanctioned, but I saw a clip of it. He got knocked out already in a boxing fight. Knocked out against Chris Weidman. You know that chin. You got problems when people connect on that. No, I think Combat Wizard, you're kind of stretching it a little too far, bro.
You know what, man? Maybe take off the 10 years and put 6. You know what I'm saying? Like I do see where he's coming from, bro. I think that again, and that goes back to what I said earlier in the broadcast. I really think that we may have overlooked Anderson Silva might have been a great boxer. Seriously, I really think that.
Well, no. Look, he was a genius level fighter, level MMA fighter. Great reflexes.
Absolutely,
you know?
and that's what I was leading to.
He went far in the UFC. No, he would have went far in boxing.
Huh?
I said he would have went far in boxing if he would have boxed from day one. He would have, yes.
I was about to say, absolutely. That body, that frame, I could definitely see Anderson Silva being a contender at 160, somewhere around that area in that place in a weight class. His head movement, the ring IQ, he looked like the one that had boxing in the back of his mind, to be honest. Not Chavez Jr. He looked like the one that has had all the background. I really think that he may have missed a couple tens of millions of dollars in boxing. Seriously.
And that's why he wants to fight Logan and Jake Paul. And you know what? I have no problem with that, because someone like an Anderson Silva should deserve to be paid like that, given what we know now about UFC fighter pay.
For the game. Absolutely. He had great footwork. He had great footwork. He had ring generalship. He had head work. He had head movement. He had everything that you would think of. And at 46-year-old, you said something earlier. You said that Chavez Jr. was a shadow of himself. Are you kidding me? Man, a young Anderson Silva would have tore Chavez Jr.'s ass out the frame, bro. I think
prime Chavez Jr. Prime Chavez Jr.
Man, was there ever a prime Chavez Jr. really?
Yeah, he was middleweight champ.
Look, the thing about Chavez Jr. he got credit for he landed a lucky punch on Sergio Martinez. He was getting his behind whooped the whole fight.
See, that was the decline. That was the start of the.
That was the decline. Oh, so you want Andy Lee? You want Andy Lee Chavez Jr., right?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the one that you were thinking would show up on Saturday.
I understand that. But what I'm saying, I think that guy, given you give those two guys and you give Anderson Silva all his faculties and stuff back, and the pre-fracture of the leg and the pre-KO, dude, you better look out. Ain't no way that Chavez Jr. is going to be able to dig deep enough to deal with the spider. His ass will be getting beaten on the way to the ER. No way. He ain't his dad. He's not his dad, man. Maybe I'm just feeling a little.
I know he's not his dad.
Maybe he made me look bad. I don't know, but
I know he's not his pops. But at the end of the day, in his prime, you can't deny it. Junior could freaking fight, and he was solid. He was pretty damn good enough to be a legit middleweight champion. That's not an easy thing to do. The dude could fight.
Man,
going back now. Okay, I'll let you respond. Go ahead.
He could. I mean, he could fight, but I'm just saying we're missing the point. You're underestimating and understating. Look, Anderson Silva was great on Saturday night. He was great 5 years ago. He was great 10 years ago. Anderson Silva is great, period. Anderson Silva is a great fighter. He's a smarter fighter than Chavez Jr. That would be the difference. Body for body, are you going to tell me, bro, that Chavez Jr. skill-wise and athleticism-wise will be able to deal with Anderson Silva? Hell no. That plodding around
Athleticism-wise,
style that he had, he would have been chasing Anderson Silva around and getting dotted up the whole fight.
But that's the thing, though. He would have been chasing Silva around, yes, but I think eventually he would have broken him down.
And he would have been taking punches too, right?
Yeah, he
So
would have.
He would have been chasing him around. Wait, listen.
But that's the thing. Junior has a great freaking chin, bro. Junior has a great freaking chin. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that he got that is like his dad. Freaking great chin, freaking chin.
Great chin, bad skin. Great chin, bad skin. He be bleeding like a stuck hog, dude. And that's what would happen. He would get picked, and poked until he bled, and then the referee would have to say, "Hey, man, look, you ain't getting close enough to hit Silva in a way that's respectable."
I don't think so, bro.
Man, I
think he would have stopped him. I think he would have pressured him. He would have cut the ring off. He would have stopped him. I think eventually he would have broken him down and stopped him.
I just feel like it would have been a much better, it would have been a great fight. I just don't think, man, look, dude, we just got to give Anderson Silva his credit. I know that we're boxing guys. I'm a boxing guy. I'm a huge boxing guy. But listen, MMA carried the weekend, bro, with the victory that he had. Period.
Well, I already said my piece. Okay, like guys, it's not like Anderson beat an in prime boxer. He beat freaking Chavez Jr. Look at this guy's record the last few fights. We know he has problems. I just told you that he had problems in this thing. Like it's cool that he won, but at the end of the day, he beat Chavez Jr. Like we all know.
Yeah, he did. He beat Chavez Jr. and that's it. And Chavez Jr. He beat no. You don't just say he beat Chavez Jr. Marcos.
He beat Chavez Jr.
He beat Chavez Jr. ex-middleweight boxing champion of the world.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing out, man. Yeah,
he's nowhere near that anymore. That's he's nowhere near that. He's not. He's not. Look where he is. Look where he has been. But let's get back to the fight this weekend. Rob, do you think Barrios has what it takes to upset Tank? Okay, let's get in with this. All right, let's start. And your grandma probably does beat Chavez Jr. at this point, bro. I think there's certain things that Mario Barrios brings into this fight that can be troublesome for Tank. One, the height, the reach, and that he's a bigger guy. Okay, right. Tank's gonna have to find a way to go inside to be able to land his punches that he wants to. Okay, that's the big thing with this fight with Tank. He can't be on the mid distance on the end of Mario's punches because he won't. He's going to get tagged a lot. He has to find a way to cut the distance and land his punches because Tank is the shorter guy with the shorter arms. Mm-hmm. With that being said, if you look at Barrios' last few fights, it's no secret the guy does have some defensive vulnerabilities. He gets tagged a lot, especially in that fight that he had with Akhmedov, which I scored for the Fox broadcast. It was a pay-per-view fight. I forget who was on the main event. I think it might have been Spence and Sean Porter. But you see Akhmedov's face and you see Barrios' face, and you totally would have thought that Barrios was the guy that ended up losing. And he ended up winning that fight. Yeah. He gets hit a lot, man. He gets hit a lot. And look for Tank to get on the inside. Yes. Look for him to throw uppercuts, to throw hooks, to set up uppercuts because of the height of Barrios. And Barrios kind of leans forward sometimes, and he'll oblige people in that. If Barrios should box, and look, he has a hell of a trainer in Virgil Hunter up there, which I'm pretty sure is telling him you need to box. Because I've seen Mario Barrios box in his early fights. He was a boxer, and he boxed a lot. And I'm sure that the game plan is going to be to not get in exchanges with Tank Davis. But knowing Tank, he's going to get to a point where he's going to be able to let those hands go. And I think that's absolutely really going to be where the fight is going to play out. Someone just asked for a birthday shout out. Who is that? Don Easy, what's up, bro? Happy birthday. Big shout out to you. I hope you're enjoying your birthday. Don. Yeah, happy birthday, Don.
Yes, sir. Happy birthday, mate.
I really think that's really the keys there. Barrios can't get tagged the way that he's gotten tagged with other fighters because of the special power that Gervonta has, because Gervonta has special freaking power. Now, if he's able to bring that up to 140, that's a question. I think he will, because of the stories that I've heard from the gym about him putting down middleweights, that he's going to be able to carry that power. But yeah, he cannot exchange with Tank. He can't make mistakes where he leaves himself open to counters against Tank. And you got to imagine Tank's going to be looking for that too. That he's going to be high guarding it, moving left, moving his head, moving his hips left and right, high guarding it to cut the distance and really pick off shots from Mario. And if Tank doesn't respect the power of Mario, he's going to just walk right through him. Walk right through him.
And I think that is the point that that's the caveat about that seems really exciting for me personally. And like you touched on, Mario gets touched a lot. Mario has been touched and has been hurt in previous fights. Though he's gotten out of there, I think that they've sat and watched him fight and said, "Hey, look, this is something that we can get done." And that's the point. Look, it's going to be a difficult task for Mario Barrios, like I said, to get away. And if Mario Barrios isn't able to land unbelievable firepower, what you're looking for, look, he's going to have to change defensively. Mario Barrios' weakness is his defense. It's not his offense, right? His defense, he gets hit with big shots. And if he gets hit with those Tank Davis big shots coming up a couple of pounds, hey, man, it looks like all intents and purposes he's going to go down.
I think it's going to end a knockout, and I think it's going to be a great fight like the Leo Santa Cruz fight was. I think it's going to be good. Barrios is going to land because
Barrios is going to land because Tank gets hit too. Let's be honest. Tank
because
gets
of the height and reach also too. But yeah, you're right. Tank does get hit.
Tank gets hit.
But he counters too. That's the thing. He's willing to take one to go ahead and counter, even though he doesn't do that a lot. And Tank's a very sneaky counterpuncher. I think he's a lot better counterpuncher than what people give him credit for.
Yeah, I feel like definitely, and that's Barrios being a counterpuncher, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that Barrios is a pretty good counterpuncher.
No. I meant Tank. Tank's a very underrated counterpuncher.
They're both good counterpunchers. I think that Mario Barrios may be a little bit of an underrated counterpuncher too. But the thing is, man, again, that you look at the fight and you say, hey, look, and he did get a gift versus Akhmanov, and that's the truth.
Miguel brings up a very good point, and I think that's why he picked this fight. And I think he alluded to it on the Showtime thing that he did. That he said that, hey, Mario gets hit a lot. I feel like Tank thinks he's going to walk through Barrios. I'm not sure, though. It's a big question because Barrios is a big freaking guy. Barrios was talking about moving to 147, saying he was having trouble making 140. When he fought on the Tank versus Leo undercard, he was talking about maybe fighting Regis or moving up to 147 pounds. So, yeah, that's fighters don't pick fights unless they know there's something there that they're like, I can beat this guy, Tank picked this fight.
They sat at home and they watched this last fight and they said, I can beat him.
Yeah,
we can beat him. Let's line that up. That's why they came right out and boom, lined it up before. This was preemptive. They already knew what they wanted to target. They're thinking that they're getting the softest champion at 140. Let's not BS each other, right? They are thinking that they got a soft touch in Barrio, and I think that it's a lot of perseverating about Barrios is this and that. I think that he doesn't really think highly about Barrios, and it's up to Barrios to prove Tank wrong, period.
Yeah. I see a knockout, and I want to think if you were to put odds against it, the odds are more that Barrios is going to get knocked out because he gets hit, and Tank is a big puncher. And people are saying, who is Tank? Tank just knocked out little guys. Oh, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see how big of a puncher Tank is, man. We're about to find out. We're about to find out.
Because I was kind of stunned. I was like, man, his power's not really, he's not hurting Santa Cruz. He's not hurting Santa Cruz. He's not hurting Santa Cruz. And my brother and I were talking on the phone the other day, man, and he said something that was so poignant. You can hit a tree 1,000 times and not drop it, but you can hit a tree 1,000 times in the right spot and split it apart. I mean, he landed in the right spot versus Santa Cruz, and that was it. Boom. I think he's got the touch.
Yusuf, what's up, bro? But Tank gets touched too sometimes. Leo was able to land quite often. I just don't know if Mario can hurt him.
That's the point.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the point.
We'll see. He's a bigger guy, man. He's a bigger guy. I think he probably can hurt him, man. Mario, let's see. How many knockouts? I'm going to look up. How many knockouts does Mario have? Let's see. Mario Barrios box record. Let's see right now. He's being a little laggy. I hate this. Mario Barrios box record. Let's see here. 17 knockouts, 26 fights. That's pretty good. Knockout ratio of 65%. That's decent power. It's not like wow, but it's decent power. He got a knockout against Ryan Carl, but Ryan Carl gets hit a lot. Then he had that fight with Akhmedov, and then he had 2 knockouts before that. But these opponents were muscle men, so guys.
Absolutely. I just feel like his defense is going. We'll see what Virgil Hunter is able to instill on his defense. We know that Virgil Hunter is real crafty and able to kind of get guys tuned up. It'll be interesting to see on fight night how Barrios carries Virgil Hunter's game plan to and through the fight. It's gonna be a good one, man.
It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be just because style wise. They're both going to get touched up, and let's see which one's able to handle, the punches. I didn't see Charlo's fight. I was busy in Mexico, but I heard a lot of people were disappointed with Charlo's performance. They felt that he shouldn't have gone the distance with the guy the level of a Montiel. Do you agree with what people are saying, Marcus?
You know what, man? Again, when I was watching this fight, the biggest thing that I was saying to myself was, dude, styles truly do make fights. Styles truly do make fights. He got touched up. He won every round. He won at least probably 9 rounds, right? But the thing is that, dude, there was some stanzas in the middle of the fight where Montiel was throwing like this almost Margarito-esque uppercut, and he was landing in it. He was developing so much confidence in the punches that he was able to land. I think it's either one or two things. Either Montiel was truly on a bad night when he got clipped by Jaime Munguia when he was, you remember back when he fought Munguia, he got clipped in the second round when he was switching. It was an odd punch. He got caught switching. Perfect shot. He got knocked out. But the deal is that you got to realize, hey, man, Charlo is definitely there to be hit. I think that he moves his head when he thinks about it. He doesn't move his head naturally. And it's no disrespect to Charlo, bro. If I were Canelo, or if I were Triple G, or if I were Andre, when Charlo's people call, I would answer the phone no matter where I was. We're gonna fight. I think that he showed that he was vulnerable, man. He was getting hit, and if Montiel let his hands go a little more at the moments that he had him looking like he was kind of dazed, man, there's no telling what can happen. I think that a bigger puncher, maybe a puncher like Golovkin, maybe this says, hey, Golovkin, let's fight. I don't know, bro. But Charlo definitely did get his eye dotted up. His eye was nearly closed at the end of the fight. And he didn't appear to really hurt. He did wobble Montiel, but he didn't knock him down. He didn't drop him. So again, the other week we were talking about guys getting wobbled but not getting dropped. Montiel did get rocked, but he didn't go down. Charlo got rocked, but he didn't go down. But Charlo showed vulnerability, man. There's kinks in the armor. Canelo, if I were Canelo, I'd call him and say, hey, man, let's do it at 68.
See, it's going to be interesting for me to watch this fight now, given what you said, because I saw a lot of the things that you said in the Derevyanchenko fight, and I felt if Canelo were in those positions, that Canelo would have a field day with those openings, and that Charlo would be a little too slow on the inside for what Canelo would be throwing at him. But the only thing that would worry me is because Charlo has such a great jab that Canelo would get tagged a bit in those instances where he knew he would have to come forward and cut the ring off against a Charlo. But with what you're saying, man, I got to go watch the fight. But what we're saying, yeah,
buddy.
I would think,
Listen, and another thing I will,
and all those guys, yeah, should definitely, because I think even though it does seem like Golovkin is a half step less than what he was, he still looked pretty damn good in that last fight that he had physically, and I don't know, maybe this is a case too, Marcus, that Charlo fought to the level of his competition, and when he's put in against an elite guy, he's going to raise it up. You see a lot of fighters like fight to the level of their competition.
He didn't seem up. He did not seem up. He didn't seem fired up. He didn't seem up for the fight. And that may play a part in it. But again, man, look, I don't care, black, white, Indian, whatever. It's your job to fight. It's your job. It's what you do. Your life is on the line when you're in there fighting these guys. And if you're not fired up about a fight, you could lose. I mean, you look at it, he didn't make weight the first time. He was 0.4 over. I know that he made that joke that everyone laughed about, that he was just going to take a monster dump and that he'd be good to go. But it's just the point, bro. There's a lot of things that make you say, I'm not quite sure, man. I think that his air of invincibility that he's kind of had over the last couple fights took a little bit of a hit. Though he won the rounds, man, look, Triple G, if you got some heart, bro, come out and do it. This is that big drama show that you've been waiting on. And moreover, this is a fight that you're a live dog in, because you're going to be able to land the punches that you want to land. It would have been interesting to see that Triple G corkscrew overhand that he throws with both hands as Charlo is sitting there crouched up in his defense, man. I think that, seriously, and can he take Golovkin's power? Seriously, man. I mean, look, that would be a great fight. I don't think that there's a reason for Triple G and these other guys to be, quote, ducking Charlo at 60 anymore, man. I think that just like with Devin Haney, same thing. Devin Haney showed vulnerability, and I think that it does more for him in the long run. I think Charlo showed vulnerability, even though he won by unanimous decision. I think that it does something for him. It's kind of breaking things up. He'll be there. It's going to be a good fight, man.
Yusuf, thank you for the super chat. Everybody, if we can get a round of likes, please. If this is the first time you are watching us, subscribe to the channel. We're here every Monday at 5:35, as long as I'm not traveling back to back to back to back.
Absolutely.
For these freaking shows. Yusuf says, I think Charlo needed a fight like this. This will help him in future fights. I still think he beats Triple Yi, but not Canelo. Yeah, I think at this point, given that last performance, I think him and Triple G is a 50-50 fight. Dude. I would favor Canelo, though, over him at this point.
And here's another little caveat about Charlo, and just an observation from the outside. Look, Montiel was digging at Charlo's body with some of those.
Yeah, I saw the highlights of that. Yeah,
to the body. And listen, that body work changed his idea. You could see the body work demoralizing him slightly. I think a better guy, a better fighter, a fighter with a little more power, man. I think that we've got, he did still win, but hey, there's vulnerability there, definitely. And I think that the big guys need to pull up and say, let's go. That it definitely makes it say, hey, I don't really think that it's a good matchup with him and David Benavidez. I'm just gonna say it, bro. It's not a great matchup right now with him and David Benavidez. With all due respect to Charlo, from what was shown, I think that provided that David Benavidez will be able to take his shots, David Benavidez's work rate will just be too much, bro. It would be too much. It would be overwhelming. It'd be overwhelming.
And then if also too, Golovkin with Jonathan Banks, if he goes back and looks at this, and even though he hasn't done it the last two fights, Golovkin used to be an excellent body puncher, freaking body puncher. That might be the fight where he brings it back, and if he does, things will get really, really interesting in that.
Now,
right,
here's
guys.
wait, just let me get that real quick. Black Belt Ben, you say, LOL, how do you show vulnerability? Yeah, he says, LOL, how do you show vulnerability when you win every round? Both Golovkin and Alvarez are similar, are smaller fighters. You overestimate them two fighters. I get what you're saying, mate. The way that you show vulnerability from a punch is when that punch lands on you and you step back and you take a huge ass gulp of air and you look like, damn, I got to go back into that. That's how you show vulnerability. The fact that that punch is landed on you time and time and time again. The fact that a guy can hit you with a lead uppercut more than 15 times in a fight, that shows vulnerability, regardless if you win the rounds or not, man. He's getting hit. He's getting hit by guys. Yeah, the guy's awkward with an awkward style. The dude didn't have the pop to put Charlo down, but make no mistake about it, another guy may be able to have Andre would be a hell of a tough fight for Charlo right now. No joke.
All right, you guys. That's it for this Monday. We're back. Fight Up TV live chat. I don't have to travel for the next 3 weeks, so we're back for the next 3 weeks. So make sure and tune in to us next week, Monday at 5:35. If you're just joining us and want to hear my piece and Marcus's piece on Anderson Silva and the truth behind the fight, I stated my truth. He stated his truth. I still think my truth is more truthy than his truth. But we'll let you decide. Leave ahead your comments on the comment section as well. We got to go. I got to get a workout in because I must have gained about 8 pounds traveling, and it's terrible. I feel like crap.
And just real quick, man, if we can get a whole bunch of likes and positivity for brother Yair. Yair's working on his thesis, man. He's making big moves, getting ready to get his master's. So that's why he's not here. He's doing some work. Yair, man, positive vibes to you, bro, and I hope you kill it tomorrow, homie, in your presentation.
Yes. Good luck for Yair. Yair is looking to be a master.
Yes, sir. Not just a pretty face, Yair, homie.
Looking to be a master.
Too.
Yes.
No doubt. Good luck, Yair, broski.
Hurricane Hank, you're getting a little weird there, bro. Just want to hear you breathe.
Marquitos.
Yeah, kind of odd. Kind of odd. All right, you guys, we got to go. Fight Up TV live chat next Monday, 5:35. Thank you so much. Let's get one last round of likes for us. Gilbert, too. Why are you guys being little weirdos? Very strange. Very strange, guys. Okay, we gotta go.
Everybody out there, man, that's being responsible and doing the walk, man. Happy Father's Day. I know there's a lot of fathers out there, bro. You may be unseen, man, but keep on grinding. Your reward comes somewhere. Don't know where, but respect to you from one father to the next, man. All
right, like and subscribe. Follow us on social media at Fight Up TV. Follow Marcus Hayes at Peacekeeper Boxing, and follow me. You can see, it's right there. There's my finger. I can't do it, but it's right there. Hey, it's Marcos V. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next Monday. Look out. Yair will be on the ground for us in Atlanta covering this Tank versus Mario Barrios fight. Full fight coverage, full fight week coverage coming to the channel this week, so don't go anywhere. Keep it right here to Fight Hub for event coverage of this Tank versus Mario Barrios fight, as well as Lomachenko versus Nakatani. For Marcus Hayes, I'm Marcus Villegas. Thank you guys for watching this week's edition of the Fight Up TV live chat. Take it easy, guys. Good night.